All of us faculty who've come to UCMerced view this as an opportunity to create undergraduate programs that are really for the 21st century. And part of what was exciting to me in coming to UCMerced was the opportunity to help develop a biology major that was very strongly based on mathematics and statistics and computations.
You know, we have a big green field to work with, and the university is still taking shape, and I felt like I could make a difference here. Whereas at most other places, the university was going to be pretty much the same when I left as when I arrived. Here I feel like things are going to unfold beautifully.
I chose UCMerced mostly because it's a unique opportunity to build a new program, which you basically cannot get anywhere else in the US or in the world. Trying to make it into the best applied math program that we can, comparing to what other people have done elsewhere and using their experience, but also trying to make it unique and trying to make it special so that our students can get the benefit of having this new program, which is really at the cutting edge of technology, and it's not really hindered by all these traditions that may or may not be useful.
One of the things that attracted me here was the focus in the original kind of mission and vision of the campus on interdisciplinary research and interdisciplinary undergraduate majors and programs. And so I saw an opportunity here to engage students in research in my lab, studying the effects of climate change on plant species and on ecosystems, as well as an opportunity to just bring that research into the teaching that I do.
There's two things going for UCMerced. The first thing is it's a UC. So I'm not from California. I've never lived in California. So I can say for sure that the rest of the country admires the University of California more than any other public university system. An excellent public university that's as good as anything private out there. And then, of course, coming to Merced, the having a new campus, hopefully doing new way of forming a campus in the 21st century, that's very exciting, starting from the ground up.
I initially chose UCMerced because it was the closest UC. I didn't want to be too far from home, but I wanted to be far enough to be able to gain a little bit of independence and be able to grow as an individual.
I knew that it was a new school. Many of the resources here are fresh and I can say unused, so I figured it would be a better place than UC Davis. I actually picked UCMerced over UC Davis.
I chose UCMerced because it's in the valley. I like this area. It's where I'm not really a minority. There's a lot of diversity here, and I really like that, and I like that it was a new campus too.
The reason that I chose UCMerced was because of the people. I really liked when I came here that I felt welcome and invited. I had the opportunity to meet a lot of professors, deans of departments, even before I attended, and that was just phenomenal for me. I've been at UCMerced for 6 years, and the first 2 years I was a transfer student and majored in biology. In the last 4, I've been a PhD student in the quantitative systems biology class, and I will be graduating this year.
So the educational mission of the School of Natural Sciences is to form well-rounded scientists who understand, hopefully, the whole picture of research and science, and try to apply these things to make the world a better place, to solve problems with disease or to solve problems with renewable energy.
My training is actually in chemistry, but most of my research is in biology, and I teach mostly in the biology program. And I teach mostly courses that are either mathematical biology or computational biology. I think this is one of the exciting things at UCMerced, that we've created a biology major that is very focused on the future, so that's very mathematical and very computational.
My research area is laser physics, which basically means that we shine light into things and see what we can learn, see if we can manipulate and study those objects and perhaps modify them. Most of my research has to do with generating very short pulses of light. They work like a very fast flash on a camera, but this flash goes at something on the order of 100 femtoseconds. We've all heard of nanotechnology. Well, you divide by another million and you get femtotechnology.
My research is, broadly speaking, on how molecules interact with light. We're working on materials that could potentially be used to be faster and more efficient switches in fiber optic communications. And of course, solar energy capture and conversion.
And so my particular work directly involves the disease aspect. Although actually near our office is one of the major people who work on solar energy, and that's one of the nice things about UCMerced is that the various types of research are not 20 buildings away from each other. We have a couple major sites where we do research, and we're all together there.
The other big advantage is that I get a chance to work with people from lots of different disciplines. There's no stigma associated with doing biology research as a physicist. This is something that's looked up upon and valued, and the skills that each scientist brings to the table are utilized to their maximum effect.
Chemistry is certainly central to all of the environmental sciences. And we're also very central to a lot of engineering, to how you develop materials to build new things with. The materials are based on chemistry. We're central to a lot of what the natural sciences does. On the other hand, other areas of the natural sciences are kind of central to us. I mean, in a way, you can think of chemistry as being nothing but maybe applied math and physics at some level.
I'm a professor in the School of Natural Sciences, and I'm also affiliated with the Sierra Nevada Research Institute, which is an environmental research institute on campus. And I am the faculty lead, meaning I'm sort of in charge of the Earth System Science major here on campus. Earth System Science is our undergraduate environmental science major.
I do biochemistry, protein biochemistry, and the main thing I work on are proteins that are involved in the immune system. So we have two then major types of projects since they're involved in the immune system, some of them are very good anti-inflammatory proteins, and that actually is very useful in a lot of situations where inflammation can be a real problem, like arthritis, or even we're working with the Army traumatic brain injury with roadside bombs. Actually, one of the problems with traumatic brain injury is the inflammation after the injury, and so we're working on some proteins that they're interested in.
Like most of the majors in natural sciences, we do have a program that involves both a core and then emphasis tracks. So the chemical sciences major has 4 emphasis tracks. We have an emphasis in biological chemistry, which is quite popular, where our students take an additional year or an additional semester of biochemistry and then take a couple of additional upper division biology courses. We have a track in materials chemistry, we have a track in environmental chemistry, and then we have a track in kind of plain vanilla chemistry for students who don't really want to specialize in anything. And so then they can sort of go off and take, any of a wide variety of different kinds of elective courses.
We have a course on sustainability science, ESS2. We have Introduction to Earth System Science, ESS1. We have Ecosystems of California. We have Earth Resources.
The way our program ties into the school's mission is basically to try to educate our undergrads into a very broad, giving them a broad sense of how to be useful in a scientific context. So we train people so that they have a good background in the mathematical methods and the mathematical tools that they need to solve problems, but these problems can come from a variety of sources, and they can then go on into the world, into whichever application they feel is more interesting to them, and then use the tools that we have taught them.
One of the great opportunities for undergraduate students, as UCMerced, is to participate in faculty research. A very large fraction of our students are able to participate in faculty research.
Research is the opportunity to do what you're being trained to do.
Well, this is the sort of thing that's much more challenging at a larger university because it's just harder to make that personal contact with the faculty.
That research can be one of the most exciting things there is, but you have to be interested in the topic that you're studying. Take your classes with an open mind as to what really interests you.
The faculty here at UCMerced are special because they truly reach out to their students and they make sure that all the opportunities that you can have as an individual are offered to you.
I have a student in my laboratory during the summer who is part of the COINS research program, and he's working on a project doing optical trapping and building tools that we can use to hold and manipulate particles with light.
We have students who work in a lab that studies pollution, soil pollution, for example. We have students working in my lab studying the effects of climate change on alpine plants.
We actually are going to have a high school student at least 2 undergraduates coming, and each of them are in a separate internship program.
Several times we've gone to visit supercomputer centers where they do computational biology in other parts of the country. One summer we went to visit the supercomputer center for a week at UC San Diego. Another summer we went to Oak Ridge National Laboratories, where we use one of the largest computer facilities in the world.
We have so many different programs and interests. I think the most important thing about all the different places to become successful here is to find a place where you're comfortable. You can find people that have similar interests that you have to create a support system for yourself.
I've been working with Miriam Barlow, and we've been doing research on her emphasis of study, which is evolutionary biology. She's helped me a lot to prepare for different things for medical school and just do well as an undergraduate.
One particular faculty member that I've been able to work with for the past couple of years is Dr. Jennifer Manili, and she's been able to not only give me a chance to do research, but she's given me experience that will be able to help me be a strong professional in the field I want to be in. And not only that, but opportunities in the future that will be able to help me excel further in what I want to do.
I was doing research in Professor Mengling Sao's lab. And as I am doing my applications right now, and even before, he helped me, he gave me a lot of advice. Not only him, other professors that I took classes with. That's one advantage at UCMerced is you have access to the faculty and they're friendly. You can ask them questions anytime you want during office hours.
One of the activities that I've been doing while I've been at UCMerced has been volunteering at the emergency room at the Merced Hospital. And it's been a great opportunity that's given me some experience to work with members of the community and just experience what they're going through as they're in the emergency room.
From Kung Fu to folklorico dancing to women in science and engineering. We have our Science and Math Initiative.
My name is Krista Venetia, and I am the Program Director for the Science and Math Initiative. The Science and Math Initiative is a UC-wide program for students majoring in science, math, and engineering interested in going into careers in K-12 education. So we have a set of courses called the Natural Sciences Education Courses, or NSED, that gives students the opportunity to work with K-12 teachers in Merced in their classrooms. So the students get the opportunity to work in elementary, middle, and high school, and we work with a lot of the schools in the Merced County area. And with the local students, if they want to work in the high school that they went to, we give them that opportunity, and we've had at least 3 or 4 of them work with teachers they were in their classroom, and the teachers absolutely love having them come back and work in their classroom again. With the SMI program, you get to explore some of your options, and this is something that you may not have thought of when you came to college, that this is what you wanted to do, but then when you leave UCMerced, you've decided this is what you want your career to be.
When I came here and I got my first bio class, I was a little lost as to how to even use a pipette, because it's one of those things that is so common, but it wasn't common back then for me in high school. So what I did is I got into UC Leeds and I began working in a lab, and I got a lot of experience. And as a child of farm workers, I never thought I would actually get to be a scientist at UCMerced for 2 years. So I think that was one of the greatest things here.
Find a group that will allow you to be yourself, but where you can all learn together about the adjustment of being in college, and that will give you strength.
Probably the coolest experience I've been having as I've been working with Miriam doing research is that we've been working on a manuscript that we're trying to get published. And we're trying to get it published in an actual peer-reviewed academic journal, not an undergraduate one, but one that is used throughout the world.
Do a field trip to Yosemite National Park, which students always really enjoy. I'm regularly surprised by how many students have grown up in the San Joaquin Valley and have never been to Yosemite, and it's really just such a terrific resource and so much fun.
So when I got involved with Dr. Monica Medina and her lab, somebody just took a chance on me. You can be part of the lab, just learn, be open to learning. So I did. I tried my best and everything, and then I got into the UC Leads program, and it was a summer paid internship. But when I was telling my parents and I was describing what I was going to be doing, pretty soon the whole family said, "Oh, Juliana is going to be una científica, a scientist. She's going to be a scientist." And it was a really exciting moment for them and for me. To them, it was like I had made it already, like I was a scientist already. And then to me, that was a very powerful thing that only UCMerced and its programs and its faculty could have done for me.
So when I first came to UCMerced, I had the opportunity to meet David Oshis as an undergrad, and I started working for him actually like on the first day of class, because we met over the summer, and so the first day of class I was able to start working in his laboratory. And I'm actually going to finish my PhD in his laboratory, so our collaboration has worked out really well for me and hopefully for him too.
Scientific thinking to me is when you think beyond the textbooks, when you think beyond what is already known, and when you explore what is unknown.
Sometimes things don't quite work out the way you expected, and we want students to be able to analyze, what might have gone wrong, how could perhaps the process have been improved so that they would have gotten a better result.
Scientists should know how to develop a hypothesis, how to interpret a hypothesis, how to determine if their data supports or doesn't support a hypothesis. This is just what all scientists should know, and that's what we try to teach people starting from when they enter UCMerced.
Scientists used to spend a lot of time sort of walking around in nature and describing what they saw in a very sort of qualitative way. But now we take a lot of we say quantitative measures, and we'll make thousands of these measurements and we'll compile them into huge databases that are maybe global databases, and then we'll go into those databases and we'll analyze them with mathematical tools and statistical tools to come up with generalities.
How do you take a big set of numbers that might be numbers about biology, but it could also be numbers about stock prices or numbers about the climate or anything else, and how do you basically understand these numbers?
It's definitely a lot more than the numbers, right? So the numbers are, typically what you see in early stages of math, but at some point it becomes more about the concepts themselves and about how to connect those concepts and how to draw the right conclusions or see the right links between two concepts that at first might seem to be unrelated.
A lot of the things that scientists do is they incorporate knowledge from various fields to be successful, to gain that understanding from various perspectives, and therefore accomplish their goal, which is to learn.
To get those quantitative skills right at the outset. Really take your basic math, take your basic statistics courses, do the physics, do the chemistry, so that you're really well prepared to understand the data that's been collected, make use of it.
We hope to teach everyone the fundamentals of being a scientist regardless of what major they're going to choose. And that includes needing the quantitative base that you get in mathematics, needing the chemical base to know why molecules do and proteins do, and then organisms do what they want to do, what they're going to do.
That someone who comes out of college with strong quantitative skills, they have a good prospects for the future, regardless of whether they stay in science or go into some other field.
And in general, what we try to teach our students is to have a good logical mind so that they can become good analysts in a very broad sense. So there are analysts in all sorts of fields. In business, you need analysts, and then in more or less any kind of large company that has to deal with a lot of data from their customer, they need analysts there as well. You might have analysts in a homeland security kind of sense. So all these require a well-trained mind.
The fundamental thing that runs through the physics major is problem-solving skills, stripping away details that don't matter and focusing on the things that do. And people in every field appreciate this.
And we also want our students to be able to work in teams, to be able to communicate both with each other and with other audiences. And we want them to behave ethically, both in terms of things like reporting scientific data in an ethically correct way, but also dealing with the rest of the world in an ethically correct way.
Coming from high school, a lot of the students think it's You're just here to learn something from the textbook, regurgitated in exams, and then that's it, you move on to the next class. But it's a learning process. You learn and you have to take education into your own hands.
A lot of people get nervous when they get to college about picking exactly the right path. The good news is that there are many paths to success. I think most important is to actually find an area of study that you find interesting.
So don't underestimate the courses you're going to take. Try to learn as much as you can from all of them. Absorb that knowledge.
That doesn't mean that every little fact that you learn or every test that you study for is exciting and fun, but it means in a broad sense that the topics that are being taught you are interesting.
College is not the same as high school. Being at a UC especially is not the same as high school. That you cannot, especially as a scientist, just glance at the book and assume that you sort of know it and assume you're doing fine. That's how you get, C's and D's and everybody wonders what happened.
It's important to try to get help if you're finding you're having a problem in a course as soon as possible. Another good thing about UCMerced is that we have lots and lots of resources for students who are finding their studies more challenging than they expected.
Excel is a School of Natural Sciences program that work with students who find UCMerced to be a little bit more academically challenging than expected. So Excel work with these students to provide them with information and resources, as well as tools to help them to do better in classes. The course is a 2-unit letter grade course. It's a studies, skills, and time management course where students can learn how to take better notes, how to better manage their time, how to take tests, what their different approach to different type of test questions. And it is especially important for students to do well in the lower division classes because all of the material taught there, especially in the math, and the biology and the chemistry, they will see it again and again and again.
The sooner you learn that, the better for your GPA, and then for success later in life. Is that you have to tell yourself ahead of time, this is going to be hard work, but it's going to be worth it because I'm going to understand a lot and learn a lot.
So we have one who's going to Virginia Tech, and then one who's going to UC Davis. We had another one who went in a different field altogether in health policies on the East Coast. So it is a very broad array of programs that the alumni can fit into.
After UCMerced, I'll be starting at UC Davis School of Medicine. The mixture of my major in microbiology and immunology and my minors in anthropology and public health give me an overall feel of health and people in general.
Some of them are in programs in chemistry, some of them are in other programs. We have an alumnus who's in a program in some type of biomedical engineering. We have an alumna who's in a program in forensic science.
An undergraduate student who worked with me during one of the summer programs, who was actually not a biology major, she was a major in cognitive sciences, she just got accepted to UC Davis Medical School. Another student who's taken several courses from me and has also done research with me and also actually been a teaching assistant for one of my classes is going up to UC Davis in their PhD program in biophysics.
I want to become a physician for the Central Valley. That's one of the reasons why I came to study here as well, stay in the Valley. As a biological science major, I have learned a lot of what I'm going to be using in the future.
Several of them have gone on to graduate studies. And they're at institutions like UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara. And several others have gone on to take internships and jobs in industry. One of our students had a very good internship at Intel, for example.
In the time that I've been here, I've gone from wanting to just be a research scientist to now considering going into science policy, working for the federal government. And who knows if I'm going to stop there.